This Turkey Al Sheikh, Dana White, TKO Promotions situation has been making some news, some headlines. It's had some changes and some rearranges. It doesn't look like it's going to be launched this year. It's looking more like to be launched 2026. The pay structure has been released a while ago. A couple of weeks ago, they released the pay structure, which I will get into in a minute. And as well as all of that, they are looking to get changes to the Muhammad Ali Act. The Muhammad Ali Act is a American-based law that's put in place for boxers to safeguard them in terms of their health and their earnings per se. It is in place so that a promoter can't promote and manage a boxer. A promoter has affiliations to their broadcaster and the people that are sponsoring them and giving them money to put on shows. Not really necessarily the fighter. The manager now has the fighter's best interest at hand and deals with the fighter's best interest as if he was the fighter himself or herself. So, they want to make some changes to the act. They haven't said what the changes are, but they did release a statement. Lance Pugmire wrote an article in Boxing Scene speaking on the subject. He says, if Dana White, the CEO of UFC and head of the new Saudi Arabia funded TKO boxing promotion, wanted to fully assert his political muscle given his years-long friendship with President Trump and the Republican-ruled Congress, he likely could institute wholesale changes to the Muhammad Ali Act that requires safeguards and firewalls to protect boxers' financial and health interests. That's not the intention that has emerged through preliminary meetings with boxing regulators. An alarm was sounded this week when a memo to state regulators was posted on a website, Combat Sports Law. In it, Association of Boxing Commissions President Mike Mazzulli, that's the ABC's President Mike Mazzulli, wrote to the regulators, presently the UFC/TKO is requesting an amendment change to the Muhammad Ali Act. The board of directors is working with them to make sure the ABC is still part of the federal law. Mazzulli's message in that final sentence is clear. White can likely wrangle up the votes to alter the Muhammad Ali Act however he wants. Yet TKO is asking for far less than that now. The promotion is seeking to function like the UFC model by awarding its own TKO belts to the champions of the limited weight classes once the promotion begins staging bouts likely in 2026. Like the UFC, they want to sign fighters, put them in a league and provide belts to them, said an official who's been briefed on TKO's position but is unauthorized to speak publicly on the matter because of the preliminary nature of the talks. White's former boss, ex-UFC owner Lorenzo Fertitta, adopted a philosophy of running to regulation after mixed martial arts was panned in its formative years by the late Senator John McCain as human cockfighting. The UFC was first regulated by the commissions in Nevada, New Jersey, and Missoula's Mohegan Sun Tribe portion of Connecticut. I don't know if I said that right, but that's what it's written here. Mohegan. Mohegan. Okay. In a diligent national effort to communicate and meet regulator concerns and requests led by former Nevada Athletics Commission head Mark Ratner, the UFC won state-by-state approval, finally appearing in New York for a 2016 debut after a powerful culinary union that protested Fertitta's non-union employment of workers at his Las Vegas hotels was silenced by legislator votes. This TKO effort is similarly characterized as a run to regulations by explaining that the promotion prefers to award its own belts in its circuits rather than ask for minor versions of belts from the four major sanctioning bodies WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF. TKO's interest in adjusting a clause in the Ali Act that would allow for that additional belt in its case alone the body of the federal law requiring contract disclosures and other protections would remain unchanged. So, from what I'm reading here, it seems like they just want to have the ability to promote and manage these fighters. That's what they want to do. They want to have their own belt separate from the four. They don't want no trinkets for the four to like give to fighters. They want to have the TKO belt, like it's the UFC belt. So whoever wins the TKO title and is the TKO champion. And that will be under the contract of signing to TKO. I don't mind it. I think it's all good. I think whatever they're doing over there is actually good stuff. Let's go back to the structure of the payment system. So at the end of the day, let's just have it right. Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh are not going to be signing well-known boxers to this TKO league. They're probably not going to get anybody that's coming out of the Olympics that's of any note that the other promoters are actually looking at. But they'll get fighters that are coming from the small hall shows that are unknown, and it's based in America, it seems like. It seems like this TKO promotions will be based in America. The payment structure for me, I think, is quite good. The payment structure that they've released, an unranked fighter would get $20,000 for a 10-round bout. A ranked fighter between 5 and 10 will get $50,000 per fight, but that doesn't say if it's 10 or 12 rounds. A ranked fighter in the 3rd or 4th position in their respective weight class, they'll be getting $125K per fight. If you're challenging for the championship, you're going to get $375K per fight. This is dollars. And if you're defending your championship, you're going to get $750K again per fight. For me, I think this is a brilliant pay structure. If you know the problems that small hall fighters have to go through to even get themselves to stay professional. I know so many boxers that turned pro and couldn't sustain their career because they couldn't get paid. And they couldn't find fights. They had a manager, they didn't have a promoter. Promoters go after the names. They go after guys that they think they can build. People that are in a non-promotional position can get left by the wayside. Small hall shows are basically the heartbeat of boxing. If there were no small hall shows, there wouldn't be any of these big shows, because them ground level guys have to build themselves and build each other and build the other fighters that are coming in to make a name. That's where you get the journeymen from. Journeymen, they fight on the small hall circuits all the time. They will get £500, £100, maybe £50 a fight. Maybe they don't even get that. And when you're an up-and-coming fighter and you haven't got a promoter, but you've got a manager, or you've got a manager and a very, very small named promoter, a lot of the times you don't get paid as the fighter. A lot of the times you have to sell tickets to try and get money. A lot of the times you have to buy the tickets off the promoter and then sell the tickets. Or if the promoter's nice, he might give you a bunch of tickets and say, right, for these 200 tickets, I want X amount back and the rest is yours. But believe me, it's not a 50-50 situation. It's going to be, most of it's going to the promoter, because the promoter is going to have the situation where they have to pay your opponent. Maybe they're going to have to make you pay the opponent. Sometimes fighters will go into a fight and fight for no money, because the money that they actually earn, they have to pay the promoter and they have to pay the opponent. You think, why are they paying the promoter? What has happened is they've taken a set amount of tickets from the promoter and they didn't sell all the tickets. So they got to give the promoter the money that they sold plus the tickets that they didn't sell. That's basically paying the promoter, because you're not getting nothing back. You're not getting a penny. What you're out there looking for is sponsors. You're trying to get someone to sponsor you, this company, that company. You will see a boxer on a small hall show go in the ring, and on his shorts, he's got badges from the local bakery, the local building trade, the local scaffolding company, the local barbershop. They're all on his shorts because they're all sponsoring him in different ways. One might be helping him with his gum shields. The other one might be helping him with his gloves. The other one might be buying his boxing shoes. Do you get what I'm saying? It's so tough for people that are not promoted. The fighters that you see and you hear about is such a small percentage of the overall boxing community. There are so many fighters that are not getting paid or they're not getting promoted. And once they're not getting promoted, they'll be lucky to get £150 a fight. Stuff like, it's crazy out here. And I'm talking about pounds because we're in the UK. But in America, I'm sure it's no different because there are a lot of fighters that go around and charge just to spar because they're not getting any money. But people want to use them as sparring partners. So they're like, right, I'm going to have to charge you to be your sparring partner for this camp. A lot of these fighters that you see on TV are using sparring partners that are of a very good level, but they're so unknown they cannot get a fight. Dylan White is a perfect example of this. He used to have this man come in his camp and give him good work in sparring. To the point where he's like, I need to get you off them small hall shows and in here with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and get you in some big fights or some named fights because you're too good. So I'm going to be your manager and I'm going to put you on cards when I'm on the card. So I'm going to get Eddie or whoever's card I'm on, I'm going to get them to put you on the card. And that guy was Alan the Savage Babbage. Alan Babbage used to be a sparring partner. That's what he was. He was a sparring partner for Dylan White. And that is the Alan Babbage that we know today. Then you got the likes of Josh Padley, who just fought Shakur Stevenson the other day. He had a fight before Shakur Stevenson on a rehab show. But before that, he was part-time boxing. He was a full-time electrician, working and then going gym after work and training to have fights on small hall shows in leisure centres all across the Midlands and all across the northern parts of England. He got his opportunity, grabbed it with both hands, showed and proved, and then the Sheikh said, come, I'm going to pay you a good money to step in at the last minute to fight Shakur Stevenson. And from there now, he's now boxing full time. That doesn't happen. So for you to have, and another thing, young pros hardly can get fights, especially if you're a prospect and you ain't got a promoter. Now you are high risk, low reward. No one wants to fight you. You will not fight for years. You could be on the bench for 2 years trying to get a fight. No one's fighting you. Everybody's avoiding you. You could have had a good stint with the amateurs and been part of your country's national team as a reserve or something like that. Didn't actually make it to the Olympics. You're a reserve, but you're really good. And you spar with your counterparts in your country's national setup. And you're really good. But you don't get a promoter as you come out into the pros. And now you're struggling. And everybody in the boxing fraternity knows about you. And says, that guy there, he's risky, You want to take that fight? Well, I don't know about that, You're not going to get paid much because no one's even sponsoring him. So your promoter's going to have to pay him, and that's going to take money out of your wages. And you might lose. You sure you want to do that? Boy. And you're going to give him a name as well if he beats you. You sure you want to do that? Boy. And this is what happens, man. This is what happens. So for Dana White to be able to say, we're going to pay you 20 grand a fight. You're not going to have to worry about selling tickets. You're not going to have to worry about finding fight dates. This is your first couple fights as a pro. And then as you move up, your money goes up. But the fact of the matter is, you will know when you're fighting. You'll be scheduled to fight. You won't have to worry about selling tickets and these type of things. The only thing about this is when you get to a certain popularity stage, if you get to that popularity stage, then you're going to be worth more. And then you're going to have to renegotiate. But that might be in the contract as a stipulation where there's no negotiations, there's no renegotiating. This is your payment and that's it. Which is good in my opinion because, as I said, I don't see him getting any, top names to come and sign for that money. If you're getting guarantee of, 3-4 million a fight or 1.5 million a fight, you're not going to go down there and go and get 750k. But if you're the likes of man like Yanibek Alam Kanulai, who's promoted by Top Rank, but Top Rank won't even give him 150k to defend 2 titles. He's a unified champion in the middleweight division. So he's got to be paid by the other promoter. So the fighter who he's going to fight, their promoter has to take the fight on. It's not even Top Rank. The last time Yanibek fought, the last 2 fights Yanibek fought were not in America and were not promoted by Top Rank. It was the opposition's promoter that was promoting the fights. And this is what happens when you are not known. This is what happens when you're not a popular fighter. Yanibek Adam Kanulai may think to himself, I might just go and join this TKO. He's lucky he's in the middleweight division because they're not doing junior middleweight and they're not doing super middleweight. So you're lucky you're in the middleweight division. And the middleweight division, everybody in the middleweight division, champion or not, should really, really think hard about joining this TKO. Because the middleweight division is barren. Nobody cares about it. Nobody likes it. Nobody knows anybody that's fighting there. Turki Al-Sheikh tried to make something of the division when he made Hamza Shiraz fight Carlos Adames the other day. But Hamza Shiraz couldn't win the fight. And when he didn't win the fight, he's now moved up to super middleweight, which is doing a lot better than middleweight in boxing terms. So the middleweight division is dead. Chris Eubanks Jr. was going to make some popularity come to this division if he had fought Erislandy Lara. But he says that division's dead, man. I might as well go and fight Conor Ben and earn some real money. Because that division ain't making me no money. Yeah? Nobody's going in the middleweight division. Maybe everybody in the middleweight division should consider going to this TKO promotions. Because you're going to get paid better than you're going to get paid anywhere else. Nobody cares about the middleweight division. So that's one weight class that will definitely benefit from this TKO promotions, in my opinion. More things will come out. We don't know exactly what Dana White wants to change. We don't know. I'm speculating because of what they're saying about the TKO belt being registered. The one that Dana White wants to be recognized away from the WBO, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBA. So the TKO belt will be exclusive to this TKO promotions. But in order to have that as a situation, the ABC or the boxing commissions, in America have to agree to this change of the Muhammad Ali Act. And I'm sure this is something that's going to get political, that he has to talk about with the likes of congressmen and presidents and stuff like this. As you heard in the article, they're talking about his powers of popularity in the political domain. His popularity in the political domain and his friendships that's been lasting for years and years with Donald Trump. So obviously it's a political situation. Let's see how this unfolds. When more comes about, I will talk about it more. But for now, this is all the news that we have. And to be fair to you, I think this pay structure is brilliant for up and coming boxers. Don't get it twisted. It's not brilliant for everyone. But you're seeing prices, when you see the numbers that boxers are getting paid, we are talking about the 1%ers of boxers. The 1 to 3% of boxers are getting that type of money. And I don't even think it's 1 to 3%. I believe that it's even a fraction of a 1%, maybe a 0.5%, that's getting these type of numbers in boxing. But that's the ones that we see because those are the ones that are getting promoted. Okay? There's a whole world of boxers out there that are not getting promoted and are not getting anywhere that type of money. But anyway, the more that gets released, the more I'll talk about it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.